advantage from NTT if Dimaga does not respond by taking some more expos. Although there are a decent amount of Zerglings and one Hydra here, and a decent amount of Zerglings here backing that up. And of course, NTT is going to just hightail it out of there as soon as he takes down the hatchery. So another hatchery going down for Dimaga. It looks like he wants to continue to try to hold this base for some reason, despite the fact that it's going to be very difficult to defend. But going back to Dimaga's base, Dimaga is getting his expansion in the back up and running now, as is NTT. And I got to think that NTT has a huge economic advantage right now. As you can see, he does have quite a large harvester count advantage. And in the minerals, with the help of those mules, he is harvesting 1,000 minerals more than Dimaga right now, so doubling Dimaga's mineral income. This is a bad place for a Zerg player to be right now. He definitely needs to get on the expansions, or at least cause some sort of economic damage to NTT, because right now he is falling behind very quickly. But it looks like we are going to see a very epic and long game with some very big battles here coming up in the future. If we look at the units overlay here, a great scan by Terran there too, getting a lot of intel off of that, seeing the Ultralisk Cavern, and of course the Forced Ultralisk popping out, so he has a good sense of the timing for those Ultras, and also getting a look at the Hydra Den and the evolution chambers there for the upgrades, of course. So the Terran player NTT does have a lot of intel, and there is actually a sensor tower going up at the expansion. So the Terran player pretty much at this point giving away that he has this expo, because of course with that sensor tower there, of course the Terran player, or I'm sorry, the Zerg player Dimaga going to be aware that there's something back there, and why put a sensor tower back there if you're not actually going to be defending against anything? And I'm sorry, I might have missed something here, because it looks like there are no longer any drones or Zerglings up here, unless he moved his units out, and I did not catch that somehow. But he may have just moved them over to saturate one of his other expos on the map, and just trying to get some more drones, or actually just using this to produce Hydras right now, it looks like. So going to try to defend this expansion still, despite the fact that there's not any drones harvesting it, and one more Overlord getting picked off. There are a decent amount of Vikings starting to stack up here, and another drop going in the back of Dimaga's base. There is nothing in his base right now to defend against this. He's going to have to pull his entire force out from the front here, and if they take down his hive, it is going to be absolutely devastating for his tech. Oh, and a great fungal growth there, getting almost all of his infantry and a couple of the tanks there too, but unfortunately those Zerglings were trapping his Ultralisks. He was unable to get those Ultras in, although ultimately he was able to hold it off, but he may have been able to dispatch of that force a little bit quicker if he had let his Ultras get in there before the Speedlings. But either way, he was able to hold it off, and only lost about half of his hive's HP. And here come the Vikings in the back door, possibly going to do some more Overlord harassment. It looks like he is going to try to focus out this one Overlord, and not going down there to try to take out any of the miners. And of course, with all of those all those Zerglings and Ultras there, he is definitely not going to be transferring into mech mode, although he is going to get a glimpse of this expansion Dimaga is trying to put up at the high yield base. Meanwhile, it looks like NTT has taken out the destructible debris at his own high yield base and has put up yet another planetary fortress. So ground forces are going to have a very tough time taking out any of these expos with all these planetary fortresses up and running. And of course, we do see a ton of creep from Dimaga right now. He is just absolutely covering this map with creep, and is going to be very difficult for NTT to really expand across more of the map here with all this creep on it, because of course he cannot build any buildings on this creep. He is going to need to take out these creep tumors, and this also gives Dimaga a ton of vision. If you look at his mini map right now, you can just see all of these little creep tumors actually give him vision on the map, in addition to spreading his creep. So he just has a great sense of what is going on the map. He's going to have a ton of map control. But it looks like there is a decent amount of units here moving out from NTT. He has got 5 medevacs loaded up full of units, including a couple of Thors here, and he also has a decent army of Vikings holding on still. So going to try to do a little bit of harassment here, and Dimaga's army is moving into place here, going to try to intercept this offensive before it can even happen, and possibly going to cast some kind of a fungal growth, maybe even on these dropships while they're trying to move around, although I don't know how effective that would be, since he doesn't have a whole lot of anti-air with his army, only 2 Hydralisks right now, although a few more coming up the back end. And it looks like NTT going to move around the top of the map, trying to find a back door somewhere that he can get in and just cause a tremendous amount of damage. Although this is a large ground army for the Zerg player, even if he managed to drop that stuff off. Oh, and apparently there was sec please door, so Dimaga having to let some people into his house, I guess. But it looks like Dimaga has a couple units in his transport overlords up here, although one ultra in there, if he leaves it in there, he may lose it very quickly. No, managing to get that ultralisk up there, but that one ultra is not going to be able to do very much damage. Taking down, I think he got one marauder there, but the rest of those units going to get in there no problem. Dropping a couple more ultras here, but again, there's just so much firepower on this high ground. I don't think he's going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. Yeah, managing to take out a few more infantry units, and that tank is very low on HP. But other than that, he really did not do a whole lot of damage. And there are so many Vikings up here that he can really defend this cliff well without having to worry about Dimaga getting too much up here to defend. And actually, these Vikings are going to move around and go into mech mode here, try to harass this high yield expansion over here. And this queen apparently is going to try to be a Rambo and take on that entire army by itself. But going to have to back off there, managing. Oh, nope, I'm sorry, I spoke too soon. I thought he had saved it. But here come the Ultralists to defend this expansion, and losing a couple of those Vikings before he does manage to lift off. And it looks like Dimaga is going to lose the expansion here at his natural in the back door. But there are a decent amount of Vikings here going to try to do some more Overlord harassment, although these Overlords trying to frantically drop units off. But with how many units are on this high ground, I just don't think it's going to be enough. He gets a pretty good fungal growth off here on some of the infantry, but once again, that's just not enough there, as he did manage to take out a couple of those Overlords before they were even able to drop off all their units. So Dimaga quickly getting into a very difficult position right now, as NTT has completely denied this expansion, and he has more or less denied the expansion at the high yield too. So once again, we are going to see a huge discrepancy in the income right now. Not quite as big as it was before, but still a big discrepancy nonetheless, about 500 to 600 minerals behind right now for Dimaga, and he really needs to get some anti-air up of some sort to take down these Vikings. These Vikings are absolutely just dominating this map right now for NTT, and it looks like he is once again going to attack this high yield base, and I think that this is going to be enough to take down the hatchery as well as all the mining drones here, and actually using that cannon barrage. Oh my goodness, just dropping a huge amount of overlords on this ground army, and NTT just managing to pick up a few of those units. It looks like actually just one Thor. The other one must have gotten taken down just before he was able to pick it up. But NTT managing to fly some of his units out of there, and these Vikings once again still rolling around the map, and actually some of them have a decent amount of kills: 3 kills, 2 kills, 4 kills, 1 kill, 3 kills. So every one of these Vikings has at least 1 kill to their name. So doing a great amount of harassment with those. And it looks like the expansion for Dimaga at the 4 o'clock position here is still up and running, although once again there is nothing here defending that. And Dimaga, it looks like he is going to mobilize his forces a large amount of Ultralists right now. And if we take a look at the upgrades, he has 4 armor upgrades right now, in addition to 2 attack upgrade. So he has definitely got a very formidable ground force to deal with here, although it looks like he is going to have to deal with these planetary fortresses. And I'm sorry, I must have missed another small attack here. These SCVs repairing a planetary fortress here, so there must have been some pressure on the front of NTT's base trying to take down one of those expansions. But of course, there are so many tanks on the ledge in addition to this planetary fortress that he just does not have enough firepower to take that on right now. And Dimaga's managing to hold on to the high yield base here, trying to get some more drones up at that once again, and also trying to saturate this expansion on the low ground here in the back of his base. And meanwhile, double expanding, getting 2 more bases, and down at the bottom it looks like there are some Vikings here keeping an eye on this base, although he has not actually done any attacking with it yet. But it looks like there's going to be a few ultras coming up here to defend against that. And I'm not sure exactly what they're attacking there right now. Oh, sorry, getting the destructible debris. So it looks like he may try to take that expansion there as well. Oh, and battle cruisers coming out now. Although it looks like we are going to see another attempted drop in the back. 4 dropships carrying, or 4 medevacs rather. Dropships is the StarCraft 1 term. 4 medevacs though, carrying 4 Thors. If he could pick these medevacs off before they're able to drop off those Thors, that would be a big deal. But it looks like rather than that happening, they're going to be able to get these Thors up on the high ground and dropping a couple of Ultralists